Hello everybody, I am Charlie from Dr. Wen and welcome along to another brand new Doctor Who YouTube video. So as promised, I am back and today I thought I'd do another Classic Who review. I am aware I haven't really been doing that many videos. On Monday though, I did publish a video saying why I'm not doing any videos, but I am starting again, hopefully doing daily videos, and since it's Sunday I thought I would start here with another Classic Who review. I promised my next one after Mind of Evil would be the Demons, but I thought I'd change it to Terror of the Autons and do Demons at a later date. So yes, Terror of the Autons, it's a very good story in my opinion. I'm going to get on to what I like about it and what I don't later on in the video, but yeah, this is really good. It's the first story in Series 8 and introduces legendary villain the Master, so it's quite an important story. It makes Unit more important as well and features Jo Grant. It's her introduction and she's kind of the definitive Third Doctor companion, so yeah, it's quite an important story to be honest. So yeah, the plot of this is basically the Master arrives on Earth and he basically overtakes this plastics factory, and he basically kills off all of the workers in different ways. And then the Master, he hypnotizes Jo Grant into kind of blowing up Unit HQ, but eventually she gets stopped. The Doctor then goes to the circus to investigate, but is kidnapped by the Master's sort of henchmen at the circus, and then they basically have another battle with the Autons at this quarry, and they have the final battle with the Autons and the Master on this radio tower. The Master ends up realising his mistake and that the Autons are going to turn against him, and yeah, the Master tries to basically kill everyone using these plastic daffodils. So it's a relatively simple plot. It doesn't sound it, but when you watch it, it's actually quite straightforward, and there's not really that many plot holes, and there's no plot threads left. That's a problem New Who has quite a lot of the time. So I'm glad that it's relatively simple, but the stakes are still managed to go really high. So I quite like it for that. It's not like a big convoluted arc. It's very neat and closely packed, which is what I like in a Classic Who story. Yes, this is really good. In terms of the episodes themselves, this is a 4-parter, so it's fairly typical of the Third Doctor's era. In Series 7 we saw a 4-parter, then 3 7-parters in a row, which is incredibly long. They're around 3 hours long. I've actually reviewed all of the Third Doctor 7-parters. But yeah, this one's a step down and it's back to 4 parts again, like lots of this series is. I'm pretty sure this and the Claws of Axos are 4 parts, and then we've got the Demons, which is 5 parts, and the Mind of Evil and Colony in Space are 6 parts, so it's 4, 6, 4, 6, 5, like that. So yeah, I think 4 parts works very well with this story. I think had it been longer, it would have been much more drawn out, but had it been shorter, it would have felt very rushed. 4 parts was absolutely on point with this story, and I think it wouldn't have worked in any other length. Yes, this maintains consistently brilliant quality throughout all 4 parts. In general, I really enjoy this story, and I think it works incredibly well, and it also keeps on giving new ideas and new plot twists and not plot threads, new plot points throughout the entire story. Like in episode 2, we've got the Autons themselves. They don't actually appear until episode 2, and we have the plastic daffodils, which is one of the main points in the story. You can see down there, we have one of those daffodils. They were introduced in episode 3, and they're basically how the Master plans on conquering the Earth, by killing everyone and amongst the confusion overtaking. Yeah, his plans are never really that well thought out. So yes, it's really good, and I think the 4-part format works really well for this story, and yeah, it just maintains a consistently good quality. It doesn't it doesn't drag like some long stories I can think. Inferno should have been 6 parts in my opinion. Ambassadors of Death was fine as a 7-parter. And things like, I've watched The Demons, I think that would have been better as a 4 or even 3-parter, really. I think it would have worked better as one of those. But yeah, this one works really well, so I'm glad they didn't make it longer or shorter just to rake in more viewers for more weeks. I think I quite like it when they do shorter stories that are still brilliant themselves. So, next up, I'm going to be talking about the villains. Now, I've already said this this story is really, really incredible because it introduces the Master, which, you know, he's a huge villain in Doctor Who. He's the third most common villain in all of Doctor Who after the Daleks and the Cybermen, and he's another Time Lord. We've never really had another Time Lord as a villain, unless you count the meddling monk from the Time Meddler in the first Doctor's era, but we've never really had a recurring villain that is of the Doctor species. So yeah, I really like how they do that. Roger Delgado's Master is brilliant. He's so good. He does a brilliant performance. And yes, he is in every story of Series 8 and lots of Series 9 and even Series 10 stories. He's loads in the third Doctor's era and exclusive to his era as well. But yeah, he's my second favourite Master, probably after Sacha Dhawan's Master from earlier this year. I think he was brilliant, flawless Master, but he does an incredible job as well. And yeah, Roger Delgado's Master is brilliant. You can like tell he's evil, you know, he's just so fun to watch. He steals the scene in honestly any scene he's in. He's so good. So yeah, this is a really interesting concept as well, the Master kind of working with the Autons. In Spearhead from Space, the Autons were kind of separate and they were kind of doing their own thing, but in this one it was more the Master controlling them, which is what I really liked. I think it works incredibly well. The Autons are alright in this. I don't think they do a whole lot. It's mainly the Master that's the main villain who actually wants to conquer the Earth. He's just using Ernestine consciousness as a kind of tool to do it, which I think is a very good concept as well, but I don't really like the weird masks and clothes they've got on. It doesn't really look very nice, and they should have stayed with that updated design that's underneath those, which is kind of this creepy gold empty shell face. It looks genuinely quite creepy. So yeah, I think it works really well, and I think you can tell he's truly evil because of all the ways he kills people. He sends this like crazy sort of weird plastic, terrible CGI doll to kill someone. He wraps someone up in this weird black plastic inflatable chair. He uses sort of sound waves or radio waves to kind of make a telephone wire wrap around the Doctor. He does loads of different things to kill, and I think all of those scenes are incredibly enjoyable actually. And yeah, this is the Doctor also has a good frenemy dynamic with the Master. I think that works incredibly well. Yeah, the villains in this are very good. However, the Autons could have been improved slightly. I think the Autons themselves were better in Spearhead from Space, but this one, in my opinion, is better from Spearhead from Space because the Master is in it. Next up, I'm going to talk about 5 good things about this story. Most stories unless I really don't like them or really like them, I usually do 5 good things and 3 ways it could have improved. I did that for Mind of Evil, and I'm going to do it for this story as well. So, my 5 good things. Number 1, this serves as actually a really nice sequel to Spearhead from Space. It raises the stakes, makes the Autons return, and it still, kind of has that continuity, like the Nestine's energy unit in unit headquarters and things like that. I think that works incredibly well in terms of the continuity. Also, Jo Grant is introduced. She is a brilliant companion. I think her peak is in series 9 and 10, but she's still pretty good in this, and she's not as capable as Liz Shaw, which is what I like. Liz Shaw was sort of seen as a scientific partner or equal to the Doctor, which isn't really how a companion is supposed to work, so I'm glad they changed her, even though she was brilliant, by the way. My third one is that Roger Delgado brilliantly introduces the character of a Master, and he would go on to be the Master for another at least 50 years, which is, pretty insane. Unless Doctor Who gets cancelled, because it's been 49 years since this episode aired, so you never know. Number 4, Unit's involvement is limited. In season 7, Unit is so there, they're always there. They're helping the Doctor out, I know, and I really like Unit. I'm not saying a little bit of Unit is a bad thing, because it really isn't. I love Unit. I think the concept works really well, but I'm glad they made the Doctor, kind of Unit not believe the Doctor, and Unit are preoccupied, so the Doctor's got to work on his own, which is what I really like, and it's one of the very good things about the Tom Baker's era. It was kind of a breath of fresh air after all of this Unit military helping the Doctor kind of concept. And number 5, it just tells a brilliant story. It flows incredibly well, it maintains a consistent quality, there's nothing wrong with the actual story itself. It's just tiny little things, parts of the actual episode itself that kind of drag it down for me very slightly. I still love the story, by the way. Three improvements that it could have had. One, it feels a bit dumbed down and sort of cheesy. Series 7 was very dark and gritty, and I think it got a lot of complaints because of how violent and, adult aimed it was. I think this was aimed at more teenagers and adults than young children, which was its original audience in the 1960s. So I think it kind of got a lot of complaints, and they decided to do a more child-friendly episode, although it still maintained quite dark with, Master killing loads of people, but still, it does feel a bit... I don't know, you can tell it's aimed at children. It's a lot like the 7th Doctor's era in that sense. However, we do kind of return to that format for Mind of Evil, which is what I really like about the story. Number 2, the Doctor seems a bit off to me in this story. I think he was very, charming and like action hero in Season 7. In this one, he just seems like a stubborn scientist, to be honest. Sometimes he comes off as a bit rude and annoying, which isn't what I like because he's my favourite Classic Who Doctor at the moment. I have seen all the Classic Who Doctors, but some of them, like the 2nd and 7th Doctors, I haven't really seen that much of, and I did love them, so they might go up on my list. I don't really know. But yeah, the 3rd Doctor, he does seem a bit off to me in this story, and yeah, it doesn't really go in this story that well. And number 3, the Autons could have had a bigger involvement, and they could have been improved. Those horrible masks, I hate them, I really don't like them. And yeah, they could have had a bit more involvement. They had that battle in the quarry, they were, they were being driven by the Doctor and Joe Grant, and we have that final battle with them near the radio tower, where the Doctor and the Master were doing battle. So yeah, they did have involvement, but I wish we could just see some more action with them. So, yeah, other than that, the Autons are very good, but they could have just had a little bit more involvement. So in conclusion, I give this a 92%. 1% more than Spearhead from Space, which I've given a 91%. I actually think this is better than Spearhead from Space. Spearhead from Space seems a little bit boring, although still very good. It's, these both really, top tier stories. But yeah, this seems a bit better than Spearhead from Space to me. Feel free to share your opinions on which is your favourite one out of the two down in the comments below. Feel free to subscribe to this video, like this video, and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy my content. And yes, so tomorrow I will read to you Chapter 2 of the Horror of Skaro, my own fan series I'm going to be doing. I've not done, I did Chapter 1 2 weeks ago now, and yes, I'm finally returning to do Chapter 2, where we resolve the cliffhanger where a Dalek basically just comes out of nowhere. I know it's not the most original cliffhanger ever for a Classic Who Dalek story, but there you go. So I hope you enjoy that, and I will see you then. Goodbye.